Hello, beautiful ladies. Thank you for coming back to my channel. It's been a few weeks since I posted my first video, and so I apologize for that. It's wasn't my intentions. My intentions was to post videos every week, sharing valuable information that you all could use. So let me recap a little bit. First, my name is Monica, and I created this channel as a place for you to come to receive resources, information, a safe place to just gather your thoughts and know how to move once being diagnosed. So I'm guessing that if you're watching this, you have been diagnosed with stage 4, and I'm so sorry to hear that. But just know that that diagnosis does not dictate how the remainder of your life will go. You have full control over your journey. Please, please believe that. So just to recap a little bit of history, in February 22, I was diagnosed stage 2, invasive ductal carcinoma, my left breast. And I chose at that time to pursue a holistic treatment. And I remember very clearly the day that I was diagnosed. It was frightening. It was shock. I was in complete shock. In fact, I remember as the nurse practitioner was sharing the news with me, I just sort of blanked out because I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. My mother had passed away of cancer about 25 years ago. And I always told myself that if I got diagnosed that I would do a holistic route because of the changes her body went through, especially at time of death, because the chemo had settled in because she received so much of it that we had to have a closed casket because her limbs were falling off. So I'd always told myself that I wouldn't go through all that. I wouldn't put those toxins into my body. However, being fully transparent, I did not divulge into the holistic treatments 150%. I was still working. I'm a travel nurse. I was still working my long hours, going on taking contracts. Even though I had changed my diet, I wasn't really fully engaged in doing every single thing that I could possibly do. I did incorporate herbal teas, soursop, and a few other teas. However, that wasn't enough. So, like I said, I continued on, and then working and doing what I do, thinking I had it under control. And then in June of 23, I was diagnosed with stage 4. The unique thing with my diagnosis is that the whole reason why I went to see a doctor is because I had started having pain, and the tumor is underneath my breast fold. So even though the lump could not be felt unless I'm actually literally feeling it, it started growing and causing pain. It started growing outside of my breast. So I went to the nurse practitioner, and she said that I needed to be seen right away, and so she referred me to an oncologist. At this time, I'm in Arizona on contract, and decided to, once everything came back, all the results of the MRI and everything came back, that they had diagnosed and said that said the cells had spread to my liver, or excuse me, my lungs, and my bones, my pelvic area. So, me being a nurse, I started doing my own research and basically told them I didn't believe the cancer cells had spread because I, number one, had COVID twice. And I believe the nodules that they were seeing in my lungs were due to that. And number two, I had been into an accident 2016, or physically a car hit me on my right side, which is where the lesions in my bones were seen primarily on my right hip. So I believe those lesions were non-cancerous. But I said all that to say that it is highly important that you advocate for yourself and you really ask a lot of questions upon your diagnosis. And also, if you're just newly diagnosed, please take the time to go get a second opinion. I didn't do that at the time. I wish I had, but I didn't do that. But I recommend to all the women that I'm meeting now that are newly diagnosed to get a second opinion and to be very selective in where, if you do decide to do conventional treatment, where you choose to do that, because not every healthcare system is going to be good for you. And I say that meaning, and when I was in Arizona, the healthcare system was horrible. I didn't have a team of people. You should have, when you get diagnosed, you should have a social worker. You should have, of course, oncologist, a radiation oncologist, a surgeon. You should also have a nutritionist. You should have, they don't automatically do this, but I recommend requesting an integrative oncologist as well. They can give you a whole lot of other treatment options, such as acupuncture. So do that if you're newly diagnosed, and even if you're not, and you don't have those team members in place, I highly recommend you requesting it if they don't automatically provide you with one. So going forward, as I was saying, my breast started growing outside of, or the tumor started growing outside of my breast, literally. I'm doing wound care dressing changes 2 to 3 times a day. It's draining blood, it's draining like all kind of fluid. It has a slight odor, like it's horrendous what it looked like. So not only am I dealing with being stage 4, having a stage 4 diagnosis, I am also having to look at my tumor every single day. And as a woman, you know, and walking around with drainage that is leaking from your breast out into your clothing it was life altering. So I remember the early stages of going through all of this. I was not, my mindset was not engaged in fighting. I pretty much was like, okay, I guess I should get my affairs in order. And a lot of that thinking was because of what I was told. So after like going into just a deep thought process, and like really secluding myself and talking to close loved ones and stuff, I decided I was going to take control and not allow the diagnosis to dictate, like I said, my next steps. So what I did was I started doing a lot of research, a lot. And I'm telling you this because and it's so interesting, these last few weeks, I'm meeting so many women that are newly diagnosed, and some aren't, but their mindset is not about fighting. Their mindset is not about becoming a warrior. Essentially, you have to become a warrior. You have to change your mindset. Your mindset has to be about beating this thing, because you can. But the women that I've met in the last few weeks essentially believe what they're told, like I said, and believe that their life pretty much is determined for X amount of years, and that's it. Which is so untrue. It's so untrue. There's so much information out there. People that have been stage 4, that have beat it, that are living healthy, vibrant lives. And sadly, those people had to go and dig for that information to be able to do that. It wasn't readily given to them, and it won't be readily given to you. So what I am suggesting is, without going into it in detail, because unfortunately I can't, but I will post information in the description, so please check that out, and please like this video if it's helpful for you. But I will post information where you can get additional information, where you can start with your research, and then like build on top of that, because that's essentially what I did. I started off watching podcasts, Dr. Greger, and learned about different foods to eat. I learned about fasting during chemo treatment. I learned about meditation, the importance of meditation and intentional manifestation, which I will post the website where I went to for that, for the meditations that I do currently. I also changed my diet to plant-based, and was like very, 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 very strict with what I was eating. I also continued to exercise. Before I was diagnosed, I was in the gym 3 to 4 times a week, because I wasn't training to compete in fitness competitions. So I wasn't continuing at that level, but I was continuing to work out. And even if you just go walking for 30 minutes a day or a few times a week, that's good, because the exercise also is a huge, huge, huge thing to do, that will help the response if you do choose to do conventional, to help the response of the chemo. So I definitely will encourage you ladies to, at first, I understand. At first, you're just like, it's a shock, and you have to absorb it. You have to give yourself grace. Give yourself grace, because it's like being diagnosed is like a tap on the shoulder. It's a tap on the shoulder saying, hey, what you're doing is no longer good for you. You've got to change. You've got to completely readjust your life. That's essentially what being diagnosed is. And granted, there's no reason why some people get it and some people don't. But a little bit of history, a little bit of knowledge here. Everyone gets some form of cancer cell in their body throughout their life. Everyone. However, the thing is, some people's immune system fight it off and others don't, because it doesn't just start at a day ago or a month ago. These cells start off in our bodies years prior, and then what happens is if our immune system doesn't fight it, it grows, it festers, and becomes bigger and bigger, of course. So if the people that are not getting diagnosed, that means their immune system successfully beat that cell. And then because there's also other things that are going on, like I said, within, that causes these cells to fester. And a lot of times it's emotional health. There's some trauma that is unresolved. Sometimes it's your diet. Sometimes it's stress that you're going through currently. There's, it's a number of things. So don't think that and then sometimes it's hereditary. Just in my case, it's part of my family genetics. So don't beat yourself up thinking that there's something that you didn't do or did do that could have prevented this, because that's where I was. That's what I was doing as well. I was like, oh my God, why did I X, Y, and Z? So give yourself grace and just start from that. Start from, okay, the diagnosis is here. What am I going to do about it? And if you choose to do absolutely nothing about it, that's okay as well. That is your choice. But just be informed. Whatever you decide to do, be informed and know that that decision is your decision. Understand what I'm saying? If you decide to take on the fight, then you do all that you can do to take on that fight, and know that you have options. But yes, the mindset is the most important. The mindset is the most important. You can put everything in place, your diet, your exercise, and not have the belief that you will overcome, and all of it is useless. So for me, like I said, when I first was diagnosed, it knocked me down. And I'm pretty positive. I'm pretty ambitious and determined. So it gets the best of everyone when you first get diagnosed. There's no prejudice. And everyone is affected, of course. So if you're just diagnosed, take that time to gather your strength, to gather your weapons, and you get back up and you do what you got to do. Again, I'm going to post resources. I'm also going to make another video of questions to ask your oncologist. Very important questions that will help you to not only make a decision on who you choose to have it for your oncologist, but also what steps you need to take to incorporate other options. I'm also going to share different exercises that I do, simple exercises, yoga type, that helps with, that's designed specifically for cancer patients, because sometimes the cancer does cause pain. So, and there's also things that you can do to alleviate that pain as well. The thing is, I chose, being a nurse, I am not a huge fan of medication. I'll say that. So throughout this journey, let's see, I've been battling for 2 years now, as with the stage 4 diagnosis, and I have not taken any medication other than chemo. So there's things that you can do, and I unfortunately have to be selective in what I convey, to abide by the disclosures of YouTube. But there are things you can do in conjunction with conventional treatments. I'll say that. Again, I'll put extras information in my description box for those of you that are interested. But I, for 2 years, have not taken any medication and will not take any medication. I refuse. So when you're going through chemo, yeah, there's side effects that can be horrendous. And so just know that you have options other than taking medication. And you're probably wondering why I chose to go through chemo. So as I stated, my tumor was growing outside of my breast, and it was about the size. It got to about the size of I'd say probably about the size of a mango. And when I first got diagnosed, I was terrified. I was terrified. I was like, oh my God, what? Like, this is abnormal, clearly. In looking it up to see the percentage of women that had tumors grow is very small. And this particular type of tumor, I learned over time, is highly aggressive and rare. And very small, I think it was like 3% of women actually had this type of tumor. And it's a combination. It was like a multiple different, like it was like one part was HER2 and another part was HER2 positive, another part was HER2 negative. So it was just like had its own family of cancer cells in it. And it was just like, even though I was not open to doing chemo, I knew that I had to succumb to it and be vulnerable with it and just let it, it is what it is. I told myself, because I needed to fight this thing. And that's why I'm saying, like, when you first get diagnosed, you dive into everything and determine what is best for you. And that's why I say also getting a second opinion, because you want to be somewhere where you're gonna be well taken care of. I was not taken care of at all in Arizona. Like I said, the healthcare system was horrible. And so when I came here back to Washington, I got on with Fred Hutch. It was a huge difference, day and night. It was just huge. So just know, like, take that time to get a second and third opinion and decide which healthcare system you want to be in, because ultimately that's going to be it's going to make the whole journey a lot smoother. No stress. When you have a whole team of people, there's things that they take care of. Like, for example, if you have a nutritionist, she takes care of, making sure you're eating right, even though there's, she takes care of that. If you have a social worker, she takes care of getting resources in place for you if you need resources. Like when I was in Arizona, I had to do all that on my own. I had to make phone calls and call this organization and call it because they had canceled my insurance. I mean, when I tell you my journey was a complete roller coaster while I was in Arizona, it put more stress on me having to battle all the extras on top of dealing with the diagnosis. So when I tell you, you want to be in a healthcare system that is going to have everything in place for you, so you don't have to do anything but focus on your body and your mind, it makes a huge difference. So if you're already in a healthcare system and you've been diagnosed and they have not done all that for you, remove yourself from them and go somewhere else. It's going to save you a bunch of stress. Trust me. So as I stated before, I'm trying to not have these long videos because I know people like to get in and out with them and just kind of like absorb what they hear and move on. I get it. So I will put everything in the description box. And just to let you know, FYI, so my tumor is completely gone, which I will share in another video what I did. And but it's completely gone. The wound is healed, and the treatment that I incorporated, because this is in less than 3 months. Less than 3 months that this, from the time I started the treatment until the time that the wound healed, was less than 3 months. So that gives you an idea that to focus on, that this thing can't be beat. And my scans, I will share that also in another video. But I wanted to get this out because since it's been a few weeks and I had information to share. I hope this video is helpful for you. Please continue to follow, and I will be diligent in posting more videos. And like I said, my next one's going to be about questions to ask the oncologist if he or she is new to you, and even if they're not, you can still ask them. That just gives you more knowledge. Knowledge is power, right? But it's only powerful if we use it. So keep that in mind. I wish or I pray that you all are doing well, and this video finds you and your family well. And take care.